Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the review of Call of Duty World War II. A kickoff of something that I kind of wanted to do for quite a while, but I never really got around to it with other games, because when I finally felt I could actually do a proper review on it, I was like a week late. So I kind of want to take my time with these. I don't want to be too late with them as well, so I kind of got to figure out a way how to do it effectively. With World War II, I felt like that I have spent the entire weekend playing it and have a really good idea of what the game is about, and can also share some proper opinions about them, so you can make your informed decision about whether or not you should get it. Now, before we start, I want to give you full transparency with this review. First of all, I bought the game myself, so there's no sponsorships or anything within this video. Second of all, I've played every single Call of Duty since Call of Duty 4, and I even played Call of Duty 1 when it came out on PS3 back in the day. I've prestiged in the majority of all those Call of Duties. I was not a fan of Infinite Warfare and the jetpack kind of games. I've really enjoyed playing Modern Warfare Remastered up until a certain point when all the DLC guns came out, but that's a discussion for another time. How much have I played? I've beaten the campaign on Veteran. I've reached rank 37 on multiplayer, and I just noticed that I'm like 1200 XP away from 38. Hold up, I gotta play the game real quick. And I've also played a round of zombies up until round 21, and then I died. So starting off with campaign. Having beat the campaign on Veteran, I can tell you that Veteran is not that difficult once again this time around. It seems that because of all the new abilities that they've implemented within the game as well, it just becomes easier once again. One thing that I really like about the campaign though is that it doesn't regen your health. You actually have an old school health bar, which also includes of course the ability to heal yourself with health packs. Now, this brings a couple of very interesting moments within the game, but not as much as you might think. Of course, having played on Veteran, you're going to die pretty quickly, but if you don't play on that difficulty, I don't necessarily think health packs are going to be too much of a thing as well. I feel like these are things that are going to be more necessary if you play on a higher difficulty. With Veteran, you really had to think, okay, when am I going to use my health pack? Am I going to go all the way up until full health, or am I going to do up until a certain point so I don't waste them? Personally, I went for the last option and it worked out fine for me. I didn't have a difficult time with Veteran at all, but of course I play a lot of other shooters and stuff like that on hard difficulty, so I kind of know what to do. There was one certain point where I was struggling pretty bad because I barely had any health. And I gotta say, I'm showing off some gameplay of it now. It's definitely one of the cooler moments I've done in a Call of Duty game when it comes to a harder difficulty, because trust me, this took me a couple of tries, especially because I had such a little health left. So overall, I feel like the campaign is a good effort. They try, or at least they claim that they want to get an authentic World War II experience. You know, you start at D-Day and you go all the way up until Liberation and all that stuff. Typical World War II kind of thing. However, one thing that I noticed in the first level already is that it seems to be pretty inaccurate. Mainly because I killed a German soldier and what I found was a PPSH, which is a Russian gun which was only found on the Eastern Front. You're fighting on the Western Front, and I've done some research on this as well. And it turns out there was no PPSH found at all. Not a single piece of it was found on the D-Day battleground whenever, you know, they researched all that stuff. So just a bit of a minor inaccuracy there. It's not a huge deal to me, but if they're trying to, you know, claim that they're being respectful and whatnot, I kind of feel like it's a bit of a shame in the detail that you probably have noticed. When it comes to the story itself, it's not necessarily about World War II, I guess. It's more about what it does to the people and how it changes them. At the start, they're like all friends, you know, hoorah, we're gonna kill a bunch of Germans and win the war real quick. But then as time goes on, they grow to kind of, you know, get annoyed with each other. You know, this guy makes that decision, you know, this guy's ego gets in the way, which is, you know, it's an interesting thing. It kind of gives you a look at how it is. But me personally, who has watched like a very in-depth World War II documentary, if you're interested in that stuff, it's called The World at War. It's a very detailed documentary. It's gonna run you for a few hours, but you probably know everything about World War II that you have to know. It's super interesting. Definitely suggest checking it out. But having watched that and playing this game, you kind of don't really feel like it's authentic, at least as much as they wanted it to be, I guess, or claim. I guess in a game, you're not going to get close to World War II unless you're trying to get super realistic with it, which obviously would not be fun to play with. As far as the gameplay goes, they nailed that. I think the campaign was pretty solid. I mean, it's a typical Call of Duty campaign. You got your near deaths times 1000, you got the sniper mission, you got your stealth mission, you got your vehicle mission, you got your shoot down a vehicle mission, you got your high action constantly going on. So it's a Call of Duty campaign. You know, you get a pretty good story. You get, you know, oh my god, we're almost going to die. You got some cool missions to play, and in 6 hours you beat the game on veteran, and ta-da. Now, speaking of characters, one thing that I found very impressive were the cutscenes. I personally played this on the standard PlayStation 4, and even in 1080p, the faces and all that stuff and the cutscenes were very, very impressive. However, as soon as you go back into gameplay, that impressiveness kind of fades away, because it's pretty much night and day between the two things, and you can really see that it's definitely all kinds of pre-rendered stuff. And obviously, I haven't played this in 4K, so if you're someone that played this in 4K and kind of can tell me like, hey, gameplay versus cutscene isn't that much of a difference within like the PlayStation 4 version, for example, or Xbox One X, which came out today, then of course, let me know in the comment section down below. However, when you're in gameplay or you're just like, you know, roaming around the world, the mouse kind of are pretty odd as well. They don't really move as well as they do in cutscenes, so that's something, I mean, if you're paying too much attention, it kind of can get you out of the immersion, I suppose, but it's not a major factor. It's just those tiny little details that would be cool if they were, like, you know, a bit done like that, especially if they're trying to go for all kinds of detail and whatnot. But one thing that I think that they nailed as well is the gore. Like, some sections within the single player, the gore is really nice. Like, I mean, I personally don't mind if they try to push the gore a little bit, you know, but they definitely nailed that with that, you know, grenades, all that stuff. It just gets the limbs off, a bit like World at War, which something that I found that, you know, they kind of missed within, you know, the Call of Duties lately. So gore is something that definitely should be welcomed within future Call of Duty games as well. It adds a little bit of detail in there, which is always nice to see as well. Now, one last thing about the story is that I felt like it was kind of all over the place, to be honest. You start at D-Day, and then within the 6 hours you suddenly have liberated everything, and it just kind of seems to skip a lot of months constantly, which kind of makes it feel like it doesn't really have any flow to it, like you're skipping from one place to the other, and it kind of makes you feel like you're some kind of Superman, you know, you liberated every country with a few dead Germans and a few hurrahs, you know. It in a way it makes it kind of a Call of Duty campaign, but at the same time it's a bit of a shame, especially because the theme is World War II, but I'm not gonna, you know, bitch and moan too much about it. I guess Call of Duty campaign shouldn't be too much about story, you know, the more about the action, more about the Hollywood kind of you know, thing, like, hey, you know, we're gonna shoot a bunch of bad guys and at the end we get a trophy for it, you know. It's cool in that way. I enjoyed the campaign. I played it pretty much through in one go. It's not that long, it's even on veteran as well, which again, veteran is pretty easy, but it's okay, you know, it's a fun game. I enjoyed the campaign, so let's move on to zombies. Now, with zombies, I can be pretty short with you, because zombies is zombies. It feels right, it's very close to what I personally feel like to Treyarch zombies. It's pretty deep, there's a lot of stuff in there which still has to be discovered. For example, the Easter egg whenever I was playing it, the hardcore version of it, because there's two versions, there's the casual one and the hardcore one, which includes a lot more steps and whatnot. When I was playing and quote-unquote reviewing it, it wasn't available yet. And one thing that I do like about this version of Nazi Zombies is that they implemented basically objectives on the top left of your screen. So you don't, you know, run around like a headless chicken, not knowing what you're doing. You actually have an objective. And for someone like me who really likes to have a goal in what he's doing, it definitely helped me, you know, do stuff while I was killing zombies. I mean, obviously, there are those survivalists out there who like to go for high rounds and stuff like that, but I personally like to have a goal. I'm not someone that, you know, really gets entertained by going 21 rounds without doing anything but killing zombies. So that's personally something I really enjoy. There seems to be a lot of new perks and stuff in there too. I'm not going to reveal too much, you know, spoilers is obviously something that I'm going to avoid as much as possible within this review, but if you're a zombie fan, you like Treyarch zombies, and you didn't like Infinite Warfare zombies, this is something for you. Like, it has that dark, gritty vibe that the Treyarch Zombies has as well, and I think it's pretty close to what Treyarch brings out. It's not obviously as good as Treyarch Zombies, but for a Sledgehammer who has pretty much done this for the first time, I gotta tip my hat to them. It's very well done, very well thought out, and there's also a bit of an unlock for a second map as well, to give you a bit of a teaser. How you can unlock it, I'm not going to tell you, because I don't know either. No one really knows yet, but it's there, it's cool, there's a story to it as well. You don't immediately start off within the map and good luck. There's also a little bit of a prologue to it, which is very cool and very interesting, and just there's a variety to it, and I feel like that they've definitely done a good job with Zombies. So if you're a Zombies fan, you're on the fence of this, and you like a close copy, I guess, of Treyarch Zombies, give it a shot. It's definitely worth a try. Obviously with the DLCs coming as well, and you know, if you want to see some gameplay of it, whatever, there's a really good channel for Call of Duty Zombies. He's called Mr. Ruffle Waffles. Some of you might know him, some of them you don't, but he goes really in depth with story and Easter eggs and stuff like that. He's a really good YouTuber, has a bunch of no bullshit, no nonsense kind of guides up there too. So if you're looking for more information about all that stuff, go to his channel. I'll probably leave a link in the description down below. Now, the one we've all been waiting for, multiplayer. How is it? What do you think of it? Well, I gotta admit, I'm enjoying myself, alright? Having played Infinite Warfare, it's definitely a really solid multiplayer. I mean, in the last few days, you know, since launch, servers have been a bit meh, you know, it's a bit on and off. Last night on Sunday, I was playing the game and this connection was super smooth. I was really enjoying myself, but on Saturday and Sunday midday, I was having a lot of trouble with them, and personally I use a little bit of a device. It's called the NetDuma, where you can select your region of where you want to search players. Really handy little tool, but even with that, I was still lagging pretty bad, which means that the servers are a bit but that's okay. They've done a lot of fixes to it, and I feel like that the game, for its multiplayer, if you're someone that really only wants to get the game for multiplayer, I say go for it. It's a really solid multiplayer. There's a lot of things to it. The divisions are very interesting. Personally, for the majority of the time, I was running around with Airborne, which is pretty much like the SMG kind of division. You know, you run faster, you climb faster, you sprint longer. And I'm personally someone who really likes to just simply run around like a headless chicken with an SMG and just shoot everything in sight. And it was working for me, and it's still working for me till this day as well, which is really nice. It's definitely something that caters towards like the more rushing kind of thing as far as I've played. Obviously, there's also your snipers and stuff like that. Quick scoping is a thing, unfortunately, but as far as I've played so far, it hasn't been a major issue, but you know, I guess it is part of the Call of Duty game, I suppose, so you either deal with it or you avoid it. One thing that I also found very interesting about Divisions is that you can also prestige them and unlock some new weapons for it as well. And I gotta admit, that is also something very cool. However, if you're planning on prestiging it further than rank 1, because you think that you're going to get more, I gotta give you a fair warning, because past prestige number 1, it looks like you're only going to unlock emblems and stuff like that. Personally, I tried to go for prestige 2 for my Airborne division, and I got like a new calling card, and I was like, nah, I'll stay max level in prestige 1. I got my weapon, that's all I need. So definitely not something that I personally feel like you should go for. Maybe there are some other unique rewards later down the line, I don't know, but it's probably going to be customization kind of stuff. Personally, not something I'm really interested in. Speaking of customization, a lot of people obviously are afraid of the whole microtransactions thing. They're going to be a thing next week on the 14th of November. They're going to implement Call of Duty points so you can, you know, spend it and get rare supply drops, which so far it's only been cosmetic kind of things, and there's also epic versions of the weapon which give you a 10% XP boost whenever you're using them, which is really cool. I thought there was a really nice touch to it. It doesn't make the weapon any much stronger, but it does make something very useful. It's something that is worth going for. Personally, I'm going for the PPSH, which is a gun I've been pretty much using exclusively. I love the gun. It's really nice. Also, if you play your cards right, you can get 4 attachments on it. And personally, I'm now rolling with long barrel, foregrip, extended mag, and also rapid fire. No one stands a chance. You're all dead. It's very simple. You know, I'm loving the game. I'm really loving the multiplayer. And I personally think that if you were really put off by how the previous Call of Duties with the jetpacks were working, and you love Black Ops 2 and like the bit of the more old school kind of Call of Duties, this is something for you. This is Call of Duty, boots on ground. This is what you want to have from a typical Call of Duty game, in my opinion. No more jetpack bullshit, just simply boots on ground, here's a gun. It's a very simple game. Like, the multiplayer doesn't go miles away and doesn't overcomplicate it itself, right? It's how it's supposed to be. It's simple. You got either a grenade or a tactical grenade. You got a perk that you can choose, which will make your life a bit easier. You got a gun, you got a sidearm. Have fun, right? It's simple. It's exactly how I personally feel a Call of Duty game should be. You jump into a game, you have some fun, you shoot some shit, you get into the next one. If it loads, that is. But, you know, the whole HQ thing is something that's also very interesting. It's kind of steals the idea, I guess, from Destiny's Tower, which I personally don't feel too much for it. I mean, I kind of am more like a kind of guy, okay, quickly give it to me in a menu. That's all I need, you know, I don't need to roam around the whole thing. But it does bring for some interesting things. For example, if you get a supply drop, it will drop in the HQ. You know, there's a bunch of things you can go around with. It's an interesting social space. You know, I guess it's something that people enjoy. Personally, I don't care too much for it, but if you're someone that likes to, you know, hang around with friends and, you know, be in a social space where you can test out your new gun in the firing range, or you can even test out all the score streaks as well in that as well. You can even do 1v1s in the HQ as well. So there's a bunch of cool stuff you can do in it. It's a nice addition. Personally, don't feel too much for it, like I said, but if it's something that sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. There's definitely a lot to it, so worth a shot. But with all that being said, and this pretty long review of Call of Duty World War II, I want to thank you also very much for watching. If you played the game, by all means leave your little review down in the comment section down below, so people who are still on the fence about it can make an informed decision about whether or not they should get the game. Apart from that, thank you also very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all later.